If you want a beautiful sounding and a beautiful looking bookshelf speaker, then you need to see and hear these Paradigm Founder 40B bookshelf speakers. They're also packed with Paradigm's latest audio technology, so stick around while we quickly unbox and then talk specs, build quality, sound quality, we'll do some demos, and then I'll leave you with my final thoughts on the Paradigm Founder 40B bookshelf speakers. I'm Barrett, this is Spec of Tech, welcome to the channel. If you guys do enjoy audio and home theater, why not subscribe, tick the bell icon if you do, and as always, please take just one quick second and hit that like button for me. I recently made a change in my home theater from legacy audio to the Paradigm Founder series speakers. I released an unboxing and a first impression video on the Founder 120H towers already, which is linked in the top right hand corner of this video, but I had also purchased the Founder 40B's bookshelf speakers to be used as my rear surrounds. But for the purpose of this review, I have brought the 40Bs to the front of my room and used them as my front left and right speakers to see what they are made out of. I want to point out that these speakers were purchased with my own money. Nobody has any say or influence in what I'm about to say. They were purchased from Base Electronics here in Calgary, Alberta, which is one of the few great audio stores left here in this area. So go check out their beautiful new store. Make sure to tell John and Rick that I sent you. A link to their website is down in the description below. Okay, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this review, let's quickly get into these boxes. So let's get this open and see what comes in the box. They're packaged very well. You'll see in a second here. There's some big staples here, but I just pry it open. So they want you to open it upside down. As you can see, the box is upside down. It says on the top to open it from the other end. I'm guessing so that you can open it just like I did. And then open the plastic here. Okay. And then that way when you flip it over, it's easy to get the speaker out. Okay, so now we have that open. Let's just flip it around. And there we go. So there is another piece of foam that goes on top, but that came off with the box there. And then you have your magnetic grill off to the side. We'll open that in just a second. Let's get the speaker out first. As you can see, it's wrapped in a nice soft cloth. There's also this soft cloth underneath that for the bottom. And then underneath here, you do have some rubber feet that you can stick onto the bottom of the speaker. And I believe that's about it. So let's get the speaker out. And you know what, I'm going to leave this on the table just to be sure. I don't want to scratch it up because the finish on this is very shiny and glossy. And then you just take the bag off and ta-da! So I did get it in the Midnight Cherry, as you can see. Very beautiful finish. I looked the other one over quite well and I didn't see any blemishes. This one, at first glance, again looks the same. Very well done finish. It has a nice glossy depth to it. But that's pretty much the unboxing, guys. We got the grill here. I'll quickly show you that. And you know me with magnetic grills, I'm very happy that these came with a magnetic grill. I think all speakers, especially in a higher price bracket, should come with them. And these ones are quite well built. They are a plastic finish, but it's like a composite, so it's quite sturdy. As you can see, I'm twisting it. It doesn't move much. Very strong magnets. Boom. Just like that. Comes off very easy. I guess I can show you what it looks like with the grill on. And then with the grill off. But let's get some footage and then we'll talk more about it. Guys, I'm not sure who was in charge of the aesthetic design of these speakers at Paradigm, but I would love to give that person a huge kudos. There is just something about this design, especially in the Midnight Cherry, that just rings home with me and looks absolutely gorgeous. We will get into all that soon. First, we'll cover the price and some basic specs. The 40Bs are priced at $2,200 US per pair at the time of this recording. They're available in walnut, black walnut, midnight cherry, and piano black. They are a ported two-way, two-driver stand mount design speaker that measures 14.5 inches high, 7.8 inches wide, and 12.8 inches deep, and weighs in at 25 pounds each. They have a frequency response of 69 Hz to 23 kHz, plus or minus 2 dB. For that beautiful top end, they're using a 1-inch Almac or ceramic dome ferrofluid cooled tweeter, which uses a spheroid waveguide, the Paradigm's proprietary phase aligning lens or PPA lens, and for the warm mids and low end, Paradigm is using their 6-inch Almag driver, which is also utilizing Paradigm's proprietary PPA lens, as well as their proprietary ART or active ridge technology surround. You can't see it in the pictures, but essentially this is a ribbed surround that Paradigm states will increase the output of this driver. They are 89 dB sensitive in an anechoic chamber with power handling of 15 to 150 watts. The maximum continuous power that is stated on the website is 120 watts. On the website, it says that these are compatible with 8 ohms, which in my opinion just means they probably do dip down to 4 ohms at certain frequencies, but they should work just fine with any AVR. I don't want to bore you with too many specs. If you want to learn more, a quick Google search will find you lots of information. Alright, so let's move on to the build quality and aesthetics. I can tell you that a lot of planning and care went into the design and the build of these speakers. The cabinet seems to be very well built, and after the scientific cabinet knock test, it is definitely very sturdy and has very little resonance. Paradigm implemented an angled brace inside the cabinet that helps with the standing waves, but also adds a beautiful angled line on either side of the cabinet, which is subtle, but also has an aesthetic appeal. The high gloss midnight cherry finish on the cabinet is just breathtaking in my opinion. They really knocked it out of the park with the midnight cherry finish. The dark red color is contrasted by some dark lines within the finish itself, and further accentuated by the dark lines on all of the seams. There is also a slight depth to the gloss coat, which just adds the cherry on top. The front baffle is a thick piece of brushed aluminum that houses both drivers. This is a perfect fit and contrasts very well with the Midnight Cherry. Paradigm took it a little bit further by machining the aluminum, so there is a subtle polished ring around each of the drivers that adds a nice modern twinkle of light around each driver. The PPA lenses on each driver do serve a sonic purpose, but also add to the modern aesthetic appeal. On the back, you are greeted by the same set of 5-way binding posts that are shared across the Founder lineup, but there is one major difference between the 40B and the ones on the 120H. The back plate on the 40Bs is plastic, whereas it is brushed aluminum on the 120Hs. All in all, this is a very well-built speaker that I believe is one of the most aesthetically pleasing that I've ever seen. I feel that Paradigm was going for a modernistic yet classic design to bring them back to their roots, yet bring something completely new to the table, and as far as I'm concerned, they truly did nail it. They didn't just nail the aesthetics, they managed to create a beautiful sound to parallel the beautiful looks. Before we discuss the sound, here are some demos so you can hear it for yourself, but as always, that comes with a disclaimer, and that is that my recording equipment, as well as my room, and the device that you are listening on will greatly affect the sound, so don't take it as an accurate depiction of what I'm hearing in my room. And for these demos, I did have the subwoofers disabled, as well as Anthem room correction, so it is just the 40Bs without any help from the subwoofers or any help from the room correction. Alright, so let's start off the demos with one of my favorites, mainly because it is copyright free, but it is called Gentleman by J2X and Lou.
You told me honestly that you were into me, guess you're not. I didn't realize your words are full of lies, not what I thought. It's like you play a game, the end won't be in vain. No lucky shot.
stay mad, chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, cut a shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy.
I hope you guys enjoyed those demos, and for those of you that may be wondering how these compare to the 120H towers, here are some of the same demos on the 120Hs, but please do keep in mind that the 40Bs are significantly less money, and of course they are quite a bit smaller, so don't expect them to sound exactly the same. But I did want to also mention that they are not level matched, so you will have to excuse the volume differences. This is more so just for the sound signature aspect.
You told me honestly that you were into me. Guess you're not. I didn't realize.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad, chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that.
as you can see, the 40Bs and the 120Hs do share the same signature. Obviously, the 40Bs don't quite have the same presence in the room as the 120Hs, nor should they, because they are a bookshelf speaker and they are a lot smaller and less expensive. But the Founder 40Bs do provide accurate tonality, yet they have a slightly warmer sound that I feel makes instruments sound a little bit more realistic and full. They aren't as clinical as some of the other speakers, but instead they are a little bit smoother. There is still a lot of detail in music and movies, but these are not what I would consider a clinical speaker. The top end is smoothed out, which makes these very easy to listen to. It also allows for poor recordings to be a little bit more tolerable. They can make most recordings sound incredible. But there is one slight caveat here. They still deliver a good amount of detail and clarity, so if the recording is really bad, even these speakers can't save it. The first thing I noticed about the Founders in general is that they are a warmer presentation than what I was used to with the legacy Audio Focus SE towers that I had before them. These 40Bs are made of the same DNA as the rest of the lineup, and I would consider them warm as well. The mids are very rich and have a silky smooth presentation that could be polarizing, especially for those that like a bored flat response. This sound signature works very well for music, making these a speaker that could be labeled as musical. This sound makes music more appealing, but it also adds a realism to instruments. A clinical speaker has an almost digital sound to it because it is so incredibly detailed. It takes a little bit away from the realism in my opinion. I feel the Founder series, and more specifically the 40Bs, designed the sound this way to make the content they are playing sound a little bit more lifelike. Although this is great for music, it isn't as beneficial for movies. That isn't to say that the Founders don't work really well for a home theater setup. They absolutely do. But you have to keep in mind the rich and warm mids will be present for movies as well. This is actually great for dialogue to add some weight and richness to the voices, but a little less ideal for sound effects since it isn't exactly a flat response. Alright, let's move on to something that is a little more complicated since this is a stand mount speaker, and that is the bass. I could just say that you should be pairing these with a subwoofer or two and be done with it. Although that is a true statement, it doesn't answer the question very well. So I will say the bass has a nice authority to it for a bookshelf speaker, but it won't be enough for anything other than a small room. For the sake of this review, I did quite a bit of listening without the subwoofers. The bass is there, and it really is quite impressive for a bookshelf speaker. There is even a little bit of tactile response that I could feel in my chair when listening to many songs, but especially when I was listening to Do It To It, which is a remix by A Craze. This song has a nice thump with just a little bit of lingering rumble. The speakers remained incredibly clear even with the heavier bass. The bass they do have is quite crisp and precise and remains so even at louder volumes. The bass frequency is rated down to 67 Hz, which isn't very low. This is why, in my opinion, you will want to run a subwoofer almost certainly, but think of it this way. You can buy these bookshelves that have the same drivers as their larger tower brothers, like the 100F, and add a subwoofer or two, and you will get most of the beautiful Founder sound with great bass for less money, depending on the subwoofers you buy, I suppose. When you add it all up, you have a stand mount speaker that offers a smooth, detailed top end with buttery smooth, rich mids and respectable bass for a small speaker. The way I set them up, the 40Bs provided an incredible center image that had me second guessing if the center speaker was actually the one emitting the sound, but they also sound deceivingly large. My room is 25 feet by 17 feet with 8-foot ceilings, and the back of the room is open to 2 levels of our 4-level split home, and these speakers did an excellent job filling the room even at lower volumes. They have a large soundstage that fills the front and side of my room that almost have a tower speaker sound to them. In all honesty, if you have some good subwoofers, you could easily get away with getting 7 40B speakers for an epic surround sound setup that would be sure to impress everybody. But you know what would impress me? If you guys would come join me on Facebook and Instagram. There are links down in the description below. You might as well subscribe if you haven't, and tick that like button while you're at it. Remember to enjoy your systems. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.